It's like, this is how the ancients did it. They asked, they desired, they got. And such is the mind. It just listens to you. Even if it's placebo, it invokes something. And that allows for gratefulness and bliss to persist in human in our lives. That's all we want, no matter how we get it. And the Spirit will talk to you, Jesus will come and talk, and they're like he was telling everyone, and people will ask him how. You know how crude those atheists can get in those rooms. But it was.
Oh, they always want to know how.
Yeah, how do you do it?
Oh, who?
Who, how?
Prove it.
So stupid. Like Cora, for example, she's a cool, in fact, her model in mind, her worldview is so similar to that of mine. And I'm a theist, and she's an atheist. That's what I'm saying. It's all about worldview, I think. It's how you see the world. And based on that, your God fits in to that. We create our gods, basically.
Yeah, but when you focus on just being godless, yes. you don't have a world.
You don't have a world. You have nothing. Yeah. Because God equals hope, basically. Desire. God equals drive, potential to actualize. The actualized always wants you to actualize, because it is full in and of itself. It doesn't need. So this too is our desire. In fact, this is our desire. If you don't have that desire, aka God desire, to become actualized, as to reach our highest potential, what is that then? How empty is that world? What kind of worldview are you building off of?
Whoop, whoop. Hello, everybody. I hope you're having a grand day.
Nargis, there is no such world that God doesn't exist.
There cannot be. But there is a place in which God does not exist. Can you guess?
There is no place where God doesn't exist.
There is only one place where God...
There is no place.
There is
no
one
such place. No such place.
Where God cannot exist. Can you tell me where?
In the mind of an atheist?
Yes, in the mind. Very good, very good. God can. The only place where God cannot exist is in the mind.
He does. Yes, there is. There's God in mind.
Because, and that again is the illusion of the mind, right? God will always be that backdrop, no matter what.
The illusion of the God in your brain.
The illusion of no God, basically. They cannot.
The illusion of God sometimes is bad, though.
Yeah. So that which is cannot not be. Right? It's all isness, man. Yeah, how you live your life without that backdrop? Can't imagine a life without. Fuck, I've lost something to clean up.
Guys, I'm chilling underneath a tree with my last joint for border. Please get in the airplane as we are boarding soon.
Where's my stuff? Did you drop it? you done to my house? I can't anymore. I have so much work to do. You're cute. Where it is? Go sleep. Let's take it out. Back to work. Hey, go down. Go on down. Go down. What have you done? What have you done? What have you done?
Home again.
Oh, I can't sing that for you. I like to be here when I can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll sing it for you. Okay, wait. Let's do this. Time. Pink Floyd. I like to be here when I can. When I get home, cold and tired. I like to warm my bones beside the fire. It's the acoustic version. Give me a minute.
What's up, Searcher? Welcome.
Hey guys.
What's up? What do you got?
What I got, well, I was just listening to the conversation earlier, and I heard something on the lines of even if it's placebo, as long as you get to that state. What is that state that we're talking about?
3.
So you were talking about.
It opens up on 3, right? They fixed it. My bad. Oh shit! I'm just gonna go. I had to do this shit.
Like, I think I'm talking about samadhi-ish state, I think. Something like that.
Sorry, come again.
Like a samadhi state. Maybe.
So
whatever that is.
Yeah. So what is it? I mean, what does that mean for a human being, for example, to be in that state? Are we then closer to God?
Yeah, I guess you can call it that. Like, humans will call it closer to God, but mostly I think it means like closer to your highest potential, like highest perfection state, like a state of completeness. Because that lack will just persist within humans, right?
Can you be in that state while you're awake, or do you have to like shut down, sit in a lotus state, in a dark room somewhere with eyes closed?
No. I think initially it's like a discipline. Eventually, I think it ends in some sort of like being able to produce that anywhere and everywhere, sort of. It's like there's a poet called Kabir, and he says like, "Bazaar mein khada hai Kabir." In the bazaar, Kabir stands still, like no matter what happens, right? In that loudness and that crazy humdrum.
I see. So that's what you can also call a state of bliss, being
Yes, yeah.
where you can look at the clouds, the trees, and you get this feeling, right, of everything being alive.
Alive and one.
Alive in one, yeah.
Yeah, without distinction, without calling it anything.
Yeah. Have you ever had that experience?
I've had that experience.
And how long were you able to retain it?
Yeah, very short. Like I think forgetfulness becomes our like biggest enemy. Mine at least.
Mm-hmm.
Like you kind of fall back into states of like material calculations. And for me, like I have these plunges into like hedonism every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
So you're overthinking it, Narjas. All you need to do is take the deepest breath of the day and do an om, and then you can get right back into the creative vibration.
I mean, have you ever tried to document for yourself what made you get into that state? So you can be.
Or desire.
Mm-hmm.
Like nothing. Everything begins with some sort of, I think, intent and desire. The need to want to know.
Yeah. But all these, religious exercises that have been given, all across, be it Islam, Christianity, or Hinduism, there's always a state where you are supposed to disconnect from the world and pray. And you need to make a repetition out of it. So there must be something to it, right? To that repetitive.
Yes, you're just disconnecting from need. The more need for something, the more attachment to that thing. Like you give your body less of food. This is why like yogis and most gurus would like meditate in caves within the foothills of the Himalayas and stuff. Because you're not just disconnected from the world, you're also like sort of disconnecting from need of sensory perception. Can't imagine a world without that.
I think the whole thing can be boiled down to property taxes because in other parts of the world, you can use your house as like your permanent meditation and hermit, kingdom. But in the West, you're forced to constantly be in movement your whole life to constantly just be able to afford your property taxes. So we have like a legal categorization on the planet. Different parts of the world are operating legally different, and that impacts our behavior.
Yeah, but a lot of it. Okay, let me just put it differently. How much of it?
Hold on. Let me.
Go on, Metro.
Sense that doesn't even pay property tax. So, Mr. Universe, when your children are young, right? You want to live in an area in which the taxes are good. They might be a little high, because guess what? Your children are going to be sucking up those resources. But when your children are gone and in school, there's absolutely no reason for you to stay in such a high tax area. And you see, if you're just not smart enough or witty enough to know that life goes through these cycles, right? And maybe your father didn't teach you, or your uncle, or your bro. I don't know who the fuck taught you, but they taught you wrong. You have it all wrong. It's not about paying tax. It's about paying the tax at the right time, because we're all going to pay tax. Okay? Someone like you who's single, doesn't have children, yeah, I'd be pissed about paying a high tax, because you're not getting the resources. You're not sucking them up. I'm putting 4 kids through school. Okay, I'm going to pay high tax. Do you know how much it would be to send them to private school? Do you even have an idea? So yeah, I'm going to live in a better area with better schools. And then when me and my wife get old, my kids graduate from high school, we're already making our way out. We're making our great escape. Does that make sense? I think the last year or so, you should be paying more, because, your last child is due, depending on how, far apart they are from one another. Are you going down? Are you going down? No?
Well, in response to what you're saying, I looked up the.
I don't know why you even brought that up. I don't even know why you brought that up.
Well, I looked up the tax brackets in Muslim countries, and it goes as high as 9%. Like, they barely have taxation in Dubai and all these Muslim countries. They don't tax the way we tax here. I'm just saying that actually prevents many people from spending time on philosophy and anyways, it's just the West versus the East, and I'm just saying I think you can break it down categorically by law and taxation, because obviously
They don't
there's
have to tax. They don't have to tax in countries like that. They have so much money.
no, but they do tax. It's in Islamic law. I'm just saying Islamic law.
I
And
understand, but they don't have to. But they're not really taxing for the operations of the government, right? Like, they've so much money.
yeah, I know, but what do they do with it? They let it sit in Wall Street investment banks. That's what the Saudis do. I mean, that's why they're so goddamn integrated and powerful and so influential with the United States and our operations. And you know, anyways, I was just merely commenting that because
I think they can afford to bomb each other too. I think that's the other great thing.
it's true. But I don't like the thought that like people are obsessive compulsive over, oh my God, I gotta find out how I can figure out God is real. How can I prove God is real? You know, like, and then spend years like engaged in religious debate, religious research, reading books. Like, to me, that's kind of a neurotic, schizo way of education. And I feel like there were parts of my life where I was like all consumed with trying to discover some kind of secret that other people weren't hip to. But I like what Alan Watts says, that the meaning of life is, not it's not a riddle to solve; it's an experience to enjoy, basically. So that's kind of the way I look at life now. Is even Clubhouse is an experience and a happening, and I want, you know, I record everything because so much of it is so uh, frivolous, and as somebody called me, pedestrian. So there's just like this frivolity and ludicrousness of people coming on a conference call every day to play a game in the way that there's so many varieties that people play this game. So it's an interesting, like, observational piece, but also the words that people are using from an observational perspective, if you're like contrary to their position, is interesting. You could just Google like top Democrat buzzwords of 2026, and like that's very insightful to see how people on the left are using specific terms to have communications, or vice versa, Republicans on the right, or Muslims, or evangelical Christians, or So anyways, hello?
Got a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So like I'd like to know what is the reliable information regarding Jesus and before his crucifixion? Like in Islam, they say that he substituted. Sometimes it says he swooned. So how do I know which one is right?
Which one do you think is right?
So in Christian narratives, they say that like the apostles, they died for believing that Jesus Christ died and resurrected. I'm starting to believe that. I'm having doubts in Islam. So I like to know, like, because Islam says that he was substituted and that he didn't die on the cross. But some people say that he went on the cross, but he didn't die. He survived the cross incident. How do I like resolve this?
This may not be.
That was written before the Quran, and where they got that idea. I could share that with you. I think ultimately the choice is going to be up to you, man. You know, so but I'll share the book with you. Give me one second. Read this.
Call. Hello.
Yeah, so
Hello?
I'll show you a text from the first and second century, right? Which that might, gear you in either direction, which is up to you. And they were a group called the Valentinians or the Marcians. The Valentinian is going to be more. You probably find more information with that. So if you go to that book, 479 is the page. 479. I'll even put it in the chat.
Yeah, can you please put it in the chat?
Put it in the chat, and the page is 479. And these are the people who thought he wasn't like he didn't have a human body. He was just spirit. It was just pure spirit. So he couldn't die on the cross because he wasn't a man. And this was their view. Yeah, this was their view.
Is that the right view?
You know what? I don't think it is because he was a real person. Like, so now you asked me about my personal stuff. So he was a real person. He had a ministry. He had a real life. The reason why I don't believe in that one is because they made the Old Testament God the demiurge. Like, they made him the evil God that could never know who the real God is because he was only the God of this universe. But there was a higher God. So it's a multiple God theory. It's a hierarchy. And plus, when they took Paul's letters or they took stuff from the Old Testament, they kind of changed. They kind of just picked and choose what they wanted in the text and left parts out. So I wouldn't, that's the reason why I wouldn't believe in that one.
Where do I get more information about the truth? Like, is there like
That's on you, bro. That's on you. I can only push you in the right direction. So I'm telling you, I'm going to be very biased. I'm a Catholic, so I'm going to believe, he's sent from the Father and all that good stuff.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate you, bro. There's plenty of information out there, bro.
Clubhouse has definitely proven that reading comprehension is a major problem, and actually reading, spending time to read for consistently, day to day, an hour a day, it's like it doesn't happen. And what's interesting also is when you listen to people actually try to read on this app, it's very difficult for people to read, and you're like, wow, I thought this person would be able to read at a much higher rate, but they're actually very slow and they can't pronunciate a lot of words and they struggle. So, you know, there are nonprofits that help people actually practice reading, and it's not necessarily intuitive because we're just so technologically consumed with all that content that to actually help people relax and sit down and read, like that's a great gift for somebody, because like many people are just so quickly running through life that they don't have a, basically I guess like a, what is it, a havruta or something, twin flame to like consistently read, because that experience of reading it, especially if you read it out loud, is a very unique experience, unlike any other experience, and it's actually what people here in this room particularly are most interested in. So it to me it's actually like a mystical experience reading some of these books, you know, even the Bible, obviously. So hello.
Hello? Yeah, I mean, if you keep searching for those answers, you're gonna get them. And either way, you're making the best decision for you, brother. You know, I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
So, I think you'll be all right. A lot of people like the rituals about religion. The prayer, supplications, these types of things. People really like those types of things. So, like, if you're happy in Islam doing those types of things, I would just tell you to keep doing that. Until you figure it out.
What's some of the nonprofit organizations that help you read Universe? Can you
Just
share one
go
with me?
just go on Google and you could maybe try to find something local. I used to work with one in Manhattan Beach, California. It's just like I can't remember the name of it, but you could just Google like local reading workshops, local book club. Uh, One way to do it yourself without the club is to just come here on Clubhouse and use the Clubhouse as like a reading room to record yourself reading and to record other people reading. And you can, you know, try to coordinate and get the same book so you can follow along. You can also record yourself using another cell phone or your current cell phone reading a book just using the recorder function, or you can use YouTube to or use your camera and record yourself reading and then upload the video and then listen to the playback. That's how I do it. It really reinforces the comprehension if you can hear yourself reading complicated material, because then you start piecing together all the concepts and it becomes like a large language model for you.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
The Pritzker team is running on a message of raising wages and lowering
I'll
costs.
be off this. I'll see you guys later.
You know what? How about lifting all ships? Right? They talk about, we're going to make it more affordable. J.B. Pritzker's
My wife made some slamming meatballs last night.
Well, how'd you eat them? You make a sandwich or just pasta?
Oh, it's awesome.
Have you? I was looking up yesterday the Constitution of Islam. Have you ever read the Medina Constitution by Muhammad?
Um, no.
So I looked at it. There's I think 47 amendments to it. A lot of it deals with blood money. A lot of it deals with like political organizing and making different tribes responsible for their prisoners, for their hostages, for paying the blood money. A lot of it is allowing Jews to operate underneath the authority of Muhammad, and then also calling themselves out as a new separate political entity throughout the world, independent of all other political organizations, and they call themselves the Ummah. But from the perspective of the Jews living in the area who are involved in many of these declarations, it's incredibly odious, obnoxious, ridiculous. I mean, it's as if somebody in your own neighborhood said, "You now work for me," and it's basically gangsterism, mafiaism, and criminality and tribalism and gangsterism. I mean, it's gangs, and it's right there in the Medina Constitution. If you read it, it's 47 amendments, and I was just like, I was reading it yesterday on Wikipedia. I was like, oh my God, I've never heard anybody talk about this because I was reading Winston Churchill quotes about Mohammedan law and how ridiculous it is and destructive it is and how harmful it is to women because it makes them literally chattel property. And Winston Churchill's quotes on Islam are really interesting. But that led me to realize there's got to be an Islamic constitution. Like it has Mohammedan law. So what is Mohammedan law? And then you can get into the Sharia aspect. But the problem with a lot of religious Muslims on this app, etc., other places, is that they're not willing to discuss Mohammedan law as opposed to the Sharia religious Ummah perspective. They are incapable of basically stop being religiously extremist and get to the law on the ground in the courts and all that stuff. So I just thought it was really interesting, and I bought a bunch of books on Muhammad and Islamic history. I'm looking at one right now called The Many Faces of Political Islam. It's just a really interesting topic because historically, the Christians and the Muslims with the two caliphates and the invasion of Europe, there is this major conflict between European Western Christendom and Islam is political Islam in its multivariate form because it's different throughout all the countries. So it's just a really interesting topic and debate. Especially a lot of these people are just learning English for the first time and they can't express a lot of the, I'm sure, concepts in English. I am complete.
Here it goes. Constitution of Medina. Thank you for the new topic. Sometimes we need somebody else bringing up topics. This is a good one. This looks like a rabbit hole. You know what? I haven't punched it in my chat yet, but let me tell you something. Once I do,
I was debating Mikhail on it for like an hour yesterday. He kicked me to the goo 5 times, then eventually kicked me out of the room because it makes all or nothing claims. From a debater's perspective, to me, it's like the holy grail of debating Islam because the Constitution of Medina makes such outlandish, ridiculous assertions and legal proclamations that from, and I use Grok to do a literary and a historical analysis and comparison between Western judicial progression and Islamic law or the Mohammedan law. So it's really interesting how they contrast. And from a Western perspective, Islam is intolerable because it's, anyways, I don't want to say it's psychotic, but it is. It's an in group that declares all out groups under its control. It's basically it's mafia gangsterism, and it's tribalism at its worst. So that's what the Constitution of Medina. That's why you can use it to debate in such a way that spiritual, religious Muslims can't win that debate because they're living in 2026, not 700. And when you update them to the year in which we're living and the progress of judicial and legal Western progression from Magna Carta to the Constitution, etc. These documents make the Constitution of Medina look so ludicrous and low IQ that it's shameful that people can actually agree with what it's saying, especially with regards to the treatment of Jews. That it in itself is so despicable that Islam, in my opinion, needs a constitutional convention. And the Constitution of Medina is where it has to start. Muslims around the world have to come together and update the Constitution of Medina. I am complete.
I'm sorry. I wish that was the case, but when Allah speaks, it's eternal, forever. So, yeah, good luck.
I mean, it's just a talking point, but I'm just saying that like debating the Constitution of Medina with Muslims is a very interesting way to engage with Muslims because now we take them off the ledge and bring them back into the courtroom and we say, "Hey, these are your amendments and your proclamations. Let's go over them one by one and try to find out whether or not we think it's okay in 2026." Hello?
No, but you see, no, hello? What you're doing is you're letting the cat out of the bag. We shouldn't be telling them these things because we want them involved in them and then they figure it out when it's too late. So I don't understand why you want to tell them these things. Let them back this shit up. Why educate them? Why keep universe? Why do I have to keep educating Muslims on their own doctrine? Is it my response? Is this my calling?
No, but
Am I the Muslim whisperer?
I'm just saying that Clubhouse you should try to treat it like a courtroom because there are people on this app that come on here and make death threats regularly, and I've told those people they're out of compliance, and I say you can't come on this app and use it as a place to make death threats. That's out of compliance and you're in the wrong. And as you've heard, many Muslims on this app just regularly make death threats. So what I'm just trying to say is that like you're the judge, we are either the plaintiff or the defendant, and we are here to engage in a professional legal correspondence communication in a court. It's your creation, it's your experiment, but I'm not trying to educate. I'm trying to bring up a topic that no one brings up, the Constitution of Medina.
It's going to be to the point where this is such an interesting topic that they're not going to know about because they'd rather hide and asking me. It's a contradiction that God and a man can be a God and a man at the same time. That's more important than knowing about the Constitution of Medina. Did you hear the conversation I had with this guy? His name was Dodo. I literally explained to him the who and the what and how he see God. What's the first question he asks me? The same thing that I just said to him. They have no respect for nothing. They have no respect for other humans. They only want to hear out.
Yeah.
Kiss the podcasts about there, but they don't have conversation.
You see Rabbi down there, he is basically pulling the same shtick that Jordanian schmuck in Toronto, who also went by Rabbi McDickerson. See, these Christians that come out of the Middle East that have lived amongst the all or nothing Muslims that claim that they are their bosses, I think it all originates in this Medina Constitution, where today you have all these Orthodox Christians living amongst Muslims, and you know what the percentage of approval rating is from Christian to the Muslim? It's like less than 10%. They hate. Talk to any Christian that comes out of the Middle East, and they literally hate the fucking Muslims. They hate them. They hate their attitude. They hate their legal correspondence, all of it. Like their attitude sucks, and it's all in my opinion, it's all because of this Medina Constitution.
Oh, so you're saying that it resonates even if they don't know about it? It still resonates within that thing. Okay, I see what you're saying. Well, why don't you read me one or two of them? Is that possible? I mean, what are the most? Let's
Yeah, sure.
start with charity, and then we'll get worse and worse. I guess. I mean,
it's also a historical document. It's not like a religious, esoteric teaching of Muhammad. It is a legal, historical document, and it's like, I mean, it's not legislated. It's a proclamation. It's not like a debate. It's not an election. It's gangsterism. It's mafiaism. It's tribalism at its worst. And what I'm saying is, many of the Muslims today that the Christians hate, those Muslims don't even know about it, but they still are acting subconsciously through progression as if they are the Ummah, and everybody outside of it, is subjected to their political organization. It's not just religious, it's political science and political organizing. And it's right there in this historical document. It's a very important Islamic historical document. And every major religion has their set of laws. And Mohammedan law, this is the first example of Mohammedan law. And I've run it through Grok, I've run it through ChatGPT. There's a tremendous amount of information on it in terms of like groundbreaking political science, but it's not groundbreaking. It's fucking oppressive. It's fascist. And it's not socialist. It's oppressive gangsterism. And it makes Muhammad the final arbitrator on everything. If you can't solve, it says I can't remember which one, but it says if you have a conflict, you have to go to God or Muhammad with your conflict. They are the judicial branch. Muhammad is the executive branch, and Muhammad is, the congressional or legislative branch. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's so perfidious or so odious because it takes our three branches of government that we believe, has checks and balances and makes it an all or nothing fascist, messianic, occult, gangster, tribalist, type of setting. Hello?
oh, you say stagnant. It's just old. Are you saying it's just an outdated system, or like what is it? Is it outdated?
Yeah, it didn't update. And what I'm saying is the experiments in the West with jurisprudence, Magna Carta, and individual liberties and freedoms, that's the update of mankind. But Islam is still living from this, the 622 Medina charter. It's the Charter of Medina or the Constitution of Medina. They're still living off of rules and laws from 622. They don't update. And so you know what? Fuck them. Fuck them real good. They're cocksuckers. Fuck them all.
Can we get rid of the Talmud at the same time? I'm just saying, for us regular people, it's not really beneficial.
I mean, I guess if you want to, yeah, sure. Why not? I would be more focused on seeing if the United States can help update this system in Medina. I think with our influence, we could show them the proper, because I mean, we did a great job with the oil. That I'm thinking that if we just show them the same way with the government, I mean, we wouldn't have these problems in the future. I mean, look how well of a job we did with Israel. I mean, look at their government. It's so liberal and progressive, and I mean, look at Germany. Look at what's the other one? Japan. You know.
Okay, so
The thing about Israel is it raises the gay flag more than it picks up the Torah nowadays.
Okay, so listen, these are some key features and principles of the Charter of Medina. It's the creation of the Ummah, and then they claim religious freedom. See, this is like the woke version of it, in my opinion. It says the document is divided into 63 clauses explicitly allowing Jews and other non-Muslims to practice their own religion, which we know is a fucking lie, because the next one asserts collective defense. It says all parties are required to share in the expense of Muhammad's wars and mutually defend Medina against external threats. So it forces, compulsory. It basically it enslaves Jews. Either you will join us in our war or we will fucking kill you. And we don't care if you practice your little fake religion at home. It's so ridiculous. Caleb, do you know about the Charter of Medina, the Constitution of Islam?
Wait, this sounds like the Civil War. Sounds like the Civil War to me. I don't know, man. I don't think this is a good argument. They're just gonna throw this back in my face. Like, well, you brought the Africans here, then you made them fight, and then you made them build the country. You know what I mean? Like, they're gonna say the same thing about us. The one thing we can say is they're not second-class citizens. I mean, sky's the limit. So, I don't know. I guess we can look at the times. The problem is that they're not practicing it. So they don't have a system.
No,
they don't have any research and development.
What I'm saying is right now, if you talk to a Muslim on this app, they are still literally living by the 622 Charter of Medina. And if you want to live with them, you got to pay them their tax, but they're the boss. There's no parliamentary debate. The Ummah and Muhammad and Allah, that's the rules. It's just so unfair. And this Medina Charter shows the way they treat Jews. And I got to read you some other parts of it. I mean, you have to read the text and actually think about it from our perspective and just how ridiculous it is. You could.
What about Israel then?
It's obvious that the Jews that were living there wanted to get the fuck away from this mafia kingpin. It's just gangsterism. And it's right there in the history. The charter is a historical document. Anyways, the way that they break it down.
Let me see if I get some bullet points. Yeah, keep going.
Well, let me just go to the Wikipedia page and read to you what I think are the most controversial clauses of the charter.
Would you be able to tell us about the dancing Israelis by any chance, Mr. Universe?
I don't know. What's it like being schizophrenic and retarded? Okay.
I don't know. I would ask you.
Yeah, I know. Projection's a motherfucker when you figure out what it is.
Interesting. How you're not happy with Islam, but at the same time you have this double standard and you won't call out Israel.
So the second amendment in the charter says they shall constitute a separate political unit known as an ummah, distinguished from all the people of the entire world. That to me is the first warning sign, the red flag of an all or nothing statement, which is a cognitive distortion disorder. We all know that parliamentary debate, parliamentary decision making is a collection of intelligence. But the Ummah relies solely on one man. Okay, that would be my first complaint. As we continue on, you go through all the blood money declarations, which basically relieves Muhammad and his ummah of all liability. This is the second part of the scam, is that he literally defers liability of prisoners and hostages and all reparations to these individual groups like the Banu an Najjar and the Banu Amr ibn Auf. So he's basically naming these groups as captains in his new hierarchy of mafiaism. Now we get to section 12, where it says, and the believer shall not leave anyone hard pressed with debts without affording him some relief, in order that the dealings between the believers be in accordance with the principles of goodness and justice. So calling people believers and non-believers to Muhammad's all or nothing statement that he is the prophet of God is, again, another major red flag. Second part of that is also no believer shall enter into a contract of clientage with one who is already in such a contract with another believer. Meaning that you can't do two deals with two believers, because basically now you're creating a Ponzi scheme. So much of this charter deals with debt resolution, because at that time historically there were tremendous debts between these groups, and everybody's arguing. So Muhammad is trying to act as the judiciary to essentially resolve these major conflicts, and that's what this charter deals with. A believer, this is number 14, a believer will not kill a believer in retaliation for a non-believer, and will not aid a non-believer against a believer. And as Megatron said, basically this sets us up for civil war conflict, because either you're with us or you are against us and you're a non-believer. Number 15, the protection, dimma, of Allah is one. The least of them, the believers, is entitled to grant protection. Again, protection, this is what the mafia does, or they call it yujar. That is binding for all of them. The believers are each other's allies, mawali, to the exclusion of other people. Again, the believers are each other's allies, known as a mawali, to the exclusion of other people. This is just basically a charter for a mafia organization. I cannot believe people can't just break it down that way and see how, like, the Cosa Nostra and their hierarchy structure, it is the exact same fucking thing. This is number 16. And that those who will follow us among the Jews will have help and equality. Neither shall they be oppressed, nor will any help be given against them. Number 16, that sounds pretty nice. Now, don't forget, Muhammad views these people, they're not going anywhere. He thinks they're a part of the background. And so he's not just going to give up a group of people that can contribute to his ummah. But it's not true equality. Number 17, and the peace of the believers shall be won. If there be any war in the way of God, no believer shall be under any peace with the enemy, apart from other believers, unless this peace be the same and equally binding on all. So again, we go from, we will give Jews equality and we will not oppress them, but they have to join us in our wars. Like, what the fuck? I mean, number 18.
All right, let me push back before we go to 18.
What the fuck?
So, what they're saying here in this post is that it's often described as one of the foundational documents of the first Islamic
They call it the first Islamic State.
Party in Medina.
It's the charter of the first ISIS.
The surviving text is known mainly from early Muslim library sources, especially Ibn Asham and Ibn Ashaq, rather than from an original signed manuscript. Scholars do not agree whether this one single document or collection of several agreements issued over time. The page says most historians accept some form of its authenticity, but there is still debate about the wording, the participants, the timing, and how exactly it functions. So that's going to be their pushback. Do you understand? Can you handle some of these questions? I mean,
yeah, for sure. Again, you have to look at this as like a constitution or a charter, which is the roadmap for a project. If you've ever worked in project management, which I know you do, and you have to create charters and do all of this planning.
Just do scope of work.
Scopes.
Scope of work.
This is a scope.
Yeah.
This is a scope. Anyways.
Yeah, but scopes are short term. They have goals.
Okay, this is number 19. It says, and the believers as a body shall take blood vengeance in the way of God. Number 1, and undoubtedly pious believers are the best and in the rightest course. Number 2, and that no associator, non-Muslim subject, they call non-Muslim subjects non-associators or non-believers, shall give any protection to the life and property of a Qurashiti, nor shall he come in the way of any believer in this manner. So if you look at the different caliphates and their expansion into Europe, that's why this is such an important document, because it's very simple and it gives them the legal authority to essentially do what the Ummah does, which is described in this document. It's not like this is some kind of advancement in human theory or political science. This is like, I'm telling you, this is so rudimentary gangish. Like in Chicago, we have the Gangster Disciples. And if you want to join that gang, you have to write the charter on a piece of paper, and it becomes like an incredible piece of artwork. But it's got all the rules of the gang. This is the same fucking thing. Our Constitution.
I don't know, man. Look, you got to see what I'm getting out of this. Preserves identity, but subordinates it. So each tribe keeps its customs. Disputes go upwards of Muhammad. And there's a constitutional inclusion of Jews. The Jews are described as one community with the believers. They keep their religion and they must be loyal to the political order. But they do say religious tolerance doesn't equal authority. They do say that many of these rules
they're
conditional loyalty to Muhammad's system.
Yes.
Jews must be okay with it.
Listen to
must
number.
Participate in defense.
Yes. Listen to number 20.
Yeah.
And if
cannot ally with enemies of Muhammad.
Listen to number 20. And again, these are supposed innovations in governance. They're not innovations. They're basically duplicitous methodologies to get what Muhammad wanted. This is number 20. And if anyone intentionally murders a believer, and it is proved, he shall be killed in retaliation. If he kills a believer, that guy's going to die. Unless the heir of the murdered person, that means the son or daughter or the husband or wife, be satisfied with blood money. Isn't that kind of like intimidation? You know, like you're going to take the fucking money. There's not going to be no fucking trial. You see what I'm saying? And all believers shall actually stand for this ordinance, and nothing else shall be proper for them to do. That dude, that's fucking intimidation money, man. So number 20 clearly shows you that there's no due process. There's no trial. You don't get social justice when your fucking husband was murdered. The Ummah comes to you and says, hey, we're sorry about your loss. Here's the money. And say, oh, I don't want the money. I want you to try, I want you to try Abdul over here and kill him for killing my husband. And then they say, well, he was a believer. We can't kill a believer, and you guys are non-believers. You see what I'm saying? It's ridiculous. It's unfair. There's no trial. Anyways, socially, it sucks, dude. That's fucking gangsterism right there in number 20.
Yeah, I can see issues with this. Yeah. Well. Let me keep reading.
Number 22 says, and that whenever you differ about anything, it could be like, I don't like the color of the button on your shirt, you got to refer to God and Muhammad. Now, Rabbanu Shalom, if you listen to the Jews, Rabbi Tevye said to Rabbi Tuva, hey, you're missing a button on your shirt. And he's like, why didn't you ask Hashem, to get you a new button? He goes, I wouldn't dare go to Hashem, waste his time about my button. He says, go to Hashem with everything. But here in number 22, we learned that if you got an issue, you don't have to just go to God. You can refer it to God, but you also have to take it to Muhammad. And now that is really one of the problems with Islam is that Muhammad has this special judicial dispensation. And this judicial dispensation, again, gives Muhammad the ability to make all or nothing claims in the Ummah, the separate political body from the whole fucking world. So, again, this is in group, out group. It's not Gnostic. It's not unity. It's not one God. It's one God, but with one political, all or nothing special approach. It's really totally unfair to people outside of the Ummah. And thus, it creates perpetual conflict, which you could say is a methodology. And I think in America, with the Republicans and the Democrats, this uniparty system, I think actually it's kind of the same principle where it's the Tao, basically black and white. We intentionally create a friction and a conflict to basically excel, exceed, to go forward. That it's in some ways part of the recipe. And a lot of people don't like that cooking. They don't like that recipe. Anyways, number 23. And the Jews, this is what I was most surprised about, is that the Constitution of Medina, the Charter of Medina, it's like all about Jews. So it kind of shows you like an inferiority complex, meaning that they know that they're up to no good. These are all the red flags. I was so happy to read this because I was like, man, I could tear this apart in a debate and make a Muslim look like a fucking asshole. This is number 23. And the Jews shall share with the believers the expenses of war, so long as they fight in conjunction. So, could you imagine making this proclamation, going to like an auditorium full of Jews in one of these tribes and being like, listen up, everybody. You guys are going to have to share in the expenses of our war and our conquest. And you have to fight in conjunction with us. If not, well, we got bad news for you guys. You ain't going to like the outcome. Number 24. And the Jews of Banu, Auf, shall be considered as one community, Ummat, along with the believers. Again, remember, this is a declaration. The Jews there didn't get a vote. They were told this by their new masters. Again, this is a reframe. This is Muhammad's imposed projection and reframe upon the Jews of Banu.
Sounds like protection to me.
It is. That's why I say it's so much like the mafia. It's protection money, blood money, intimidation money. You know, we killed your husband, so here's a little money. Shut the fuck up. There ain't going to be no trial. For the Jews, the religion, and for the Muslims, theirs. Be one client or patron, but whoever does wrong or commits treachery brings evil only on himself and his household. I kind of like how they follow it up there with like, even though we might not catch you, we want to warn you. That's what it's really saying. Number 25. And the Jews of Banu an-Najjar shall have the same rights as the Jews of Banu Auf. Oh, isn't that nice? They are literally publicly declaring in their charter that the Jews of Banu an-Najjar and the Jews of Banu Auf will have the same rights. Isn't that nice of them to declare that they get the same rights? But they don't actually even say equal rights with us in the Ummah. Again, this is all framing. And if you understand political science, and you can also detect the inferiority complex of the individuals who are now trying to essentially reframe the entire dynamic of their environment. And the Jews of Banu Sa'idah shall have the same rights as the Jews of Banu Auf. And the Jews of Banu Jusham shall have the same rights as the Jews of Banu Auf. So all these Jews living in the Saudi Arabian province in this area, or in Medina and all these surrounding areas, they were issued proclamations saying that they have the same right. Well, they're like, well, no shit. We already fucking knew we had the same rights, and you're taking away our fucking rights. So now you guys can kind of see the reframe of the frame. Number 30, and the Jews of Banu Thalba shall have the same rights as the Jews of Banu Auf. But whoever does wrong or commits treachery brings evil only on himself and his household. Remember, that's the warning. Like, don't fuck around or you're going to find out. Number 31, and Japhna, who are the branch of the Thalaba tribe, shall have the same rights as the mother tribes. Man, I can't see if I was Jewish living around these cocksuckers, this would have been my warning. This would have been my red flag when I was like, you guys, we have got to get the fuck out of here. Where are we going to go? And I'd be like, well, I heard about this place called Europe. Germany sounds nice. They got plumbing? Let's go! That's what I would have been said as soon as I started reading the Charter of Medina. Number 35, subsection 1 of the Charter of Medina. And that none of them shall go out to fight as a soldier of the Muslim army without the permission of Muhammad. Basically, that's what the five families say. You can't whack a capo unless you get the permission of the Godfather. Oh my God. Do you guys see the genius of basically reinterpreting the Charter of Medina as the charter of the Don Corleone crime family? God, these guys were fucking merciless. Number 2, and no obstruction shall be placed in the way of anyone's retaliation for beatings or injuries, and whoever sheds blood brings it upon himself and his own household, except he who has been wronged, and Allah demands the most righteous fulfillment of this treaty. Now that sounds like an all or nothing statement from hell. You could just say that to like anybody in any situation, give nobody any justice, and they'd just be like, what did he just say? 36 subsection 1, and the Jews shall bear the burden of their expenses, and the Muslims theirs. Again, the Jews shall bear the burden of their expenses, and the Muslims theirs. But you know what? What are the Jews' expenses? Well, it's what we fucking tell them. It's what they're going to pay. Subsection 2, and if anyone fights against the people of this code, they're of the Jews and Muslims, mutual help shall come into operation, and there shall be friendly counsel and sincere behavior between them, and faithfulness, and no breach of covenant. Now that sounds pretty nice, right? However, again, this is a public proclamation declaration. It is political propaganda, meaning when people read this, they were like, oh, well, that sounds very nice that they're going to give some equality.
Well, you keep saying, but you said that like 12 times already to like 12 of them. Like, so like half of them you're saying are nice.
Well, what I'm trying to say is Muhammad has to frame it to make it politically acceptable. If he was to just make this a troll document and shit on them, it wouldn't be nice. But he's trying to essentially conceal his true intentions. That's the essence of all political science, is to basically make people think that, see, he's trying to do a positive dialectic here. But it's not, bro, because you know at the end of the day, the Godfather he's the shot caller. This is just a way to basically make it seem like he's not the shot caller that he is. Up next, the clients, Maula, shall have the same treatment as the original persons accepting clientage. He shall neither be harmed, nor shall he himself break the covenant. So a lot of this is contractual agreements and trying to define what it means to go into contract with someone. Number 40, and no refuge shall be given to anyone without the permission of the people of the place. The refugee shall have no right of giving refuge to others. Now, this is reminiscent of our own Constitution about housing foreign soldiers without asking permission. Number 41, and that if any murder or quarrel takes place among the people of this code, from which any trouble may be feared, it shall be referred to God and God's messenger, Muhammad. God will be with him, who will be most particular about what is written in this code and act on it most faithfully. Well, again, this was written during the time of Muhammad. It's not perpetual. It's not like you can go to Muhammad right now in 2026 and get some judicial relief. This was specific to the time and place in which Muhammad was living. He was trying to essentially protect himself and make himself the sole authority. Number 42, the Quraysh shall be given no protection, nor shall they who help them. the Quraysh shall be given no protection, nor shall they who help them. Meaning that Mohammedans will destroy the Quraysh and anyone that helps them. Number 43. And they, Jews and Muslims, shall have each other's help in the event of any force invading Yathrib. So again, this document was not voted on by the Jews. It was told to them by the new Don Corleone, aka Muhammad. Number 44, subsection 1. And if they, the Jews, are invited...
Wait. How do you know that?
How do I know? This is a proclamation.
They didn't have control.
This was a proclamation.
This document.
The Jews had no input into this document. They're being told. This is a proclamation by Muhammad.
I think you're looking at this completely wrong.
This is the Charter of Medina by Muhammad, not by the Jews. The Jews are all like, what's this new shit? What's this new document we gotta read? What the fuck is this shit? Holy shit! Let's get the fuck out of here and go to Europe. This is fucking bananas. Who the fuck agreed to this shit?
You know what you need to look up? Because I think you're leaving a big part out of this. Is the Ibn Ishaq and Ibn Asham. The people that say they have these works of his lifetime. And who actually is on that document to say that they have these, or who's the one who went to go look for them? Because they only know about it because of some German guy that went down there and collected information about it. It's not like they actually have these documents. They don't. We have a copy of a copy of a copy, and then it gets to a German guy, and then he writes about it. I forget what year he did that. And then someone else wrote it after him. And then that was it. And then from there, they take the story to be authentic, which is really weird. So it's kind of funny how you're coming up with this information. Or how they have this information. Because I'm not exactly sure we'll take any of these things serious.
Well, I don't think people do take it seriously, and I think that they probably should, because if they knew just how rudimentary and obnoxious their own constitution is to the persecution and prosecution and malevolent treatment of their fellow neighbors, they would realize, you know what? Maybe we weren't so nice to all these people, and we came down kind of hard on them and forced them into our revolution. Because again, the Ummah is its own separate political body. That's the new in-group, and everybody else, well, you're part of the fucking out-group, and now you got to pay some protection money. And we're sorry if we killed your dad, but here's some fucking money, and you ain't getting no trial. So fuck off. Like, that's the type of attitude that's going on here. Number 44. And if they, the Jews, are invited to any peace, they also shall offer peace, and shall be a party to it. And if they invite the believers to some of such affairs, it shall be their Muslims' duty as well to reciprocate the dealings, excepting that anyone makes a religious war. So they were worried about religious war between themselves. I'm thinking, like, these Jews at this point, like, they had to be on not on the fence. They were on guard, I think, as soon as they saw this charter. Subsection 2. On every group shall rest the responsibility of repulsing the enemy from the place which faces its part of the city. Oh my God, every group. So now they're saying now the Jews got to fight for their part of the city against an invading force trying to destroy the Ummah. Number 45. And the Jews of the tribes of Aus, clients, as well as original members, shall have the same rights as the people of this code, and shall behave sincerely and faithfully towards the latter, not perpetrating any breach of covenant. As one shall sow, so shall he reap, and God is with him who will most sincerely and faithfully carry out the provisions of this code. See, I really love how at the end of it, they always throw out this very like pompous declaration, which is like a flattery to good intentions, but it's really
Can I
not.
say something?
Go ahead.
I don't know what the fuck you guys are talking about, but listening to you read something from a book is so much better than what I did for the past 25 minutes, which is maybe 35 or 45, which is listen to Concrete rant and drone on monotonously, endlessly, racially charged without making any sense whatsoever. I feel like I am stupider for having listened to that. And listening to you read from a book, I don't care what the book is. Just the fact that you're reading from a book, it just sounds more pleasing to the ear.
Keep going, please. Thank you.
Somebody muted me up, but I'm gonna.
Yeah, but keep going. Keep going.
See, I think when you use Clubhouse and you actually listen, to somebody who's allowed to just free flow their thoughts, you become the concrete. And that's actually the experience you had here, and that's what you don't like, because it's totally obnoxious and outside of what you think could be productivity. So you aren't just what you say you are what you listen to. And it's an experience. And we are currently reviewing the Medina Charter by Muhammad and just how unfair it is to the Jews. Subsection 46, and this prescript, this is the last one. And this prescript shall not be of any avail to any oppressor or breaker of covenant. And one shall have security, whether one goes out to a campaign or remains in Medina, or else it will be an oppression and breach of covenant. And God is the protector of him who performs the obligations with faithfulness and care, and is also his messenger, Muhammad. All right, everybody, I want to thank you for coming to Muhammad the Musical, an Islamic journey of faith in the Ummah. This is Bible and Quran, the Constitution of Medina. In the Bible and Quran room put on here by Megatron, our faithful shop steward, constantly putting in drills, working on all kinds of carpentry and banging around with hammers. He himself is
I don't know if I can put it. I'm gonna make me do something. Megatron, did you ever get a partner the other day, or did you have to do it all by yourself while everybody else had a partner to work with?
Well, I complain about that because they have partners. You understand what I'm trying to say?
I understand all too well, my friend.
Okay, thank you. If you have a partner, why should you be bitching about what you're doing? I don't have one. But do I need to hire another guy for that? Friend, are you okay?
What do you do? Do you do carpentry? Do you do drywall? You do roofing? You do flooring? You do walling? You do pressure washing? What do you do? Electric? Plumbing?
I do a little bit of nothing.
You like a handyman?
Yeah, I'm a gardener.
He's a gardener. You like a lawn guy?
Exactly.
So do you think that the Jews living in Israel and all the Arabs and the Muslims that surround them, do you think it's kind of like the white and black relationship in America? Hello?
That's edgy.
I got opinions on that.
I mean, but everything you described there is exactly what the Christians did when they came to America. So, I mean, you're gonna think that those rules are kind of like pansy compared to the ones.
Wait, what did the Christians do?
What haven't we done?
Did they cut people's heads off?
It's messy. I don't think we do it. No, because that's satanic.
Well, them niggas cutting heads off.
That's what I mean. Because they don't know. No, really, somebody didn't tell them. This is not cool. They read the book, they know.
You know what I think is weird is when it's not only that the immigrant drivers are driving bad, but then you pull up alongside them, you roll down your window, you try to give them a tip, like you say, "Hey,
you're in a left turn only lane. You're not allowed to go straight for this lane. And they say, "What do you want me to do? What do you expect me to do?" And they don't even say, thank you. They just say, "Oh, leave me alone. Go to drive your car."
Is everyone in this group from like New York? You all have the same accent.
It's the East Coast.
Okay.
Well, I was
The universe contains multitudes.
I was talking to
Everyone on this app is from New York. Don't let them fool you. They say you're in other places, but they're not.
Well, I was talking to Mikhail yesterday, and he claims that the Medina Charter is like resolved, and that I don't know. He has a way of like resolving this. I suppose even historically or spiritually. But the only reason I bring it up is because it just when you try to like reframe their frame, it holds up, and it's totally unfair and ridiculous and medieval. Um, but I just don't get the feeling that Muslims are updated. And actually, I do kind of believe in evolution of the human body, not just like spiritual evolution or cosmic evolution or psychological. Americans could be like actually higher evolved human beings than the English, the British. Because I've seen some videos of like British leaders who look actually, in my opinion, like their bodies haven't evolved. And therefore, I think their intelligence has retrograded and possibly brain rotted out because to let your whole country become Muslim in the way that they've done it, like unstoppably since the 60s, like maybe it's because the best of them left and went to America, and they were left with all the low IQ and unevolved body types. It's just a theory. Could be comedy. I don't know. Hello?
What's with the hello thing?
Oh, it's a clubhouse thing. No, it's I understand. It's a clubhouse thing because I go into rooms all the time and I hear women going, "Hello?"
Yeah, you're new here, Thomas, so there's more to the show. Hello? Hello? I figured I gotta go do something. Maybe something to do over here. Is your job like this, my friend? Or you just walk around and there's shit to do?
See, what's so amazing about the cult of Muhammad is that it's just right there in the paperwork. He actually says, if there's conflict, go to God, but also come to me. I'm the new guru and arbitrator of all your conflicts.
Yeah.
So,
Sounds legit.
yeah, but basically, he's so successful at it. I mean, to think that right now in 2026, he has 1.1 billion people that pray to him, love him, and think that his way of life is the optimal solution to colonialism, to Western imperialism, to unenlightened legal systems. But when you actually look here in the charter, the legal system is just based on intimidation, blood money. And it's just so it goes to show you that a true Muslim is a true Muslim if they know nothing about it. If you know nothing about Islam, well, then you are a true Muslim because basically you have to just be stupid, and you don't know anything about what you think you know. And I'm not saying that that doesn't apply to all religions, but what we really have here is not a religion. We have a guruism, a political shop, a political in group versus the political out group, and it's all or nothing. And in cognitive behavioral therapy, they call that a cognitive distortion disorder. And there's a checklist of cognitive distortion disorders like mind reading. Many people mind read. They think they're thinking about what somebody else's brain is thinking or something. It's like a compulsive behavior. And because of all the stuff that they have in there about the Jews, it just kind of it's a red flag document. Like view this as like a dating profile. You swipe right on the Charter of Medina and you're like, I'm detecting a lot of red flags on this profile here. That's basically one way to like compress it, to try to get home my point that uh, Western culture and Charter of Medina culture are at odds, and it's just the historical fact. the the Islamic invasion of Europe, whether it's 2026 or 725 or whatever year of the caliphates, um, it's a dark period in human history because it's basically industrialized mafia gangsterism, all or nothing thinking based on brutal slaughter, like hardcore
Yeah, but I
conquests.
don't know what's wrong with that.
Well, it's not intelligent, and you can actually basically do a comparison between the intelligence of
Yeah, all
Magna
right, so I
Carta
think they're really
Constitution.
sloppy. I think they're kind of sloppy when they talk about it. Probably.
I'd like to answer. I'd like to.
Other than that, I mean, I think it's just hey, man, they took over the land.
Well, if you say what's wrong with that, the answer is it's not intelligent. But why? What's not intelligent about it? It's because with language translating apps and books and writing and psychedelic drugs and psychotherapy and meditative thought and cross-cultural experience, we are able to
Can you add
communicate.
one more?
No,
Yeah,
just
one more.
chilling and being homies. We are able to communicate with each other through the process of chilling and being homies, and we should be able to transcend what we've been doing for millions of years, which is smashing each other's brains with a rock. And if he's saying the Charter of Medina culture is not compatible with cosmopolitan contemporary Western culture, the issue is if we keep smashing each other's brains with rocks, we're going to keep smashing each other's brains with rocks. And eventually somebody's going to smash your brain with a rock. Or you're going to be forced to smash somebody else in the brain with a rock, which I don't know if you've ever cut off the head of an animal, but I've cut off the head of a deer. And it sucks. It's very challenging to do. And I would never want to smash anybody's brain with a rock or have to cut off anybody's head. And so I think that the problem, when he says it's not intelligent, it's that it's caveman stuff. And we've been doing caveman stuff for 3 million years. Now we have Clubhouse, and we have Bic lighters, and we have automobiles, and we should evolve. We should allow ourselves to evolve past.
I think, my friend, I think Megatron gets that, but I just want to submit that if I could try to define God in any way accurately, it would be to say that God has to be the highest level of intelligence in the universe. Whatever, if you want to say the whole universe is like a collective intelligence, one way to look at it is to actually look at a tree. My friend here actually does a lot of stuff in the forest, but I have a tree in my backyard and I was looking at it and I thought, you know what? Every man and woman is a leaf, and the branches are communication networks. And there's all these other variables impacting this tree system of leaves and branches. And there's all these different variables and names for different parts of the tree, whether it's the roots or the husk or there's different parts you could probably give names. But anyways, what I'm trying to get at is that whole network is the intelligence of God. And when we can expose historical Islam as being unfair and not up to date, we can try to bring other people who are actually not up to date. And in that way, we can actually create a more stable peace and security because there are homicidal people on this app. Mikhail is one of them. And yesterday he confirmed that he will kill, he wants to kill, he wants to be in a war, he wants to see incredible chaos and devastation. And he does believe in an Islamic caliphate, and he thinks that Islam is the greatest updated version of religion 2.0. And those are the dangerous people who, the thing is, you'll never convince them. I'm just saying from like a public speaking perspective, try to like put some light on dark periods of history by showing the all or nothing statements in documents like this. Because we could also now transition to Magna Carta and then get into Declaration of Independence and try to show transcendental thought, which is saying that we will still engage in professional soldiery and war, but this type of gangster mafia, Don Corleone, Five Family shit, it's not acceptable in polite society. And we will root it out and we will fight it to the death. In the same way that the FBI, CIA, etc., has probably gone to war with secret societies, and they themselves are a fucking secret society. But anyways, I'm just trying to say, the last chapter of Balthasar Gracian's book is "Be good." In a word, be a saint. And when I talk to Mikhail, he's like a demon saint, And I'm trying to say, be good on both ends of the spectrum, because that's your greatest security, cognitive security you could hope for, is try to tell people what you mean without being mean, and therefore you won't suffer any retaliation. But this document of Medina, the charter, it doesn't do that. I am complete. Hello?
You got a problem with that though, and it's twofold. Number one, Islam already had a period where it tried to do what you were wanting it to do, and it did not work. Um, the Islam you see today is probably the latest iteration of it. Before, it was a lot more broad in its scope of thought, and somewhat more accepting of new ideas. And then something happened, the Wahhabis took over, and it just kind of closed down. So you can go backwards. The second problem is the people on the opposite end of the spectrum of your friend Mikhail there, who don't want to fight or run into conflict at any point or in any way. And it's much easier for them to punish you for bringing up the problem than it is to punish them for being the problem, which is what England is full of.
Yeah, but he's lying about Mikhail. He's just being a big baby about it.
Well, I'm just using him as an example.
He feels threatened by this man.
No. Using him as an example. I'm just saying there's got to be deranged people out there who are dangerous people, and they can utilize. See, philosophically, the now is a compression of the past and the future. We don't know the future, but if you spend time studying the past, you're basically clarifying the now. You can't really predict the future, but based on the compression, I'm just saying Islam, has a technical problem in this charter. This is an old project. They're still running the same experiment on an old project charter.
They don't care.
Their scope is out of date, therefore they all suck and are out of date. Yeah, they don't care because they're stupid. But see, that's the fun of making fun of people and calling them stupid.
So you have to change the values. It's not about intelligence. Like I could say, hey, look at this thing, it's shocking. And it might shock you because you don't have the same values, but so doesn't have the values. It wouldn't shock them. Just be like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, that's what I want.
You see any patches? I'm asking you. That's it, guys. Good job.
See, I think I actually would like to have been a lawyer, because when I listen to litigators on this app go on a dopamine litigation tear, you realize that, like, courts and lawyers and protocol and the ceremony of going to trial, it all sucks, because those fuckers who are making money there at your expense are just going on a dopamine trip at your fucking expense as the victim of a court. It really kind of sucks. So I could see how legalistically, referring all issues to Muhammad and the Ummah could probably be better than going to like a Western woke liberal courtroom. And I'm not saying I want to be a Muslim. I'm just saying I think a lot of the Americans, especially in the legal judicial industrial complex known as lawyers and attorneys, they are fucking vampires, and they shouldn't be entitled to the high adjusted gross income that they derive out of the blood and sweat and years of labor of Americans who are victims to attorneys and lawyers and judges. I am complete. You know what's so funny is I got slandered when I ran for Congress. They claimed that I committed petition fraud. But the funniest thing is the guy that claimed that, the attorney who represented Darren LaHood, my opponent, he got paid $120,000 for 1 day of work to show up before the judge. Isn't that fucking amazing? $120,000 a congressman paid a lawyer to challenge me, John Kitover, in court. And so for him to slander me, but be one of the greatest paydays of his fucking life, I made that for him, and it's only because I ran that he got that fucking money. And I didn't commit fraud, but slander and libel in politics is real because you can slander anybody. I mean, they're going to have to bring suit against you. And it does impact, voter sentiment on whether or not they want to go to the ballot box because now they think you're a fucking scumbag. But anyways, that's neither here nor there in the Megatron Daniel Uma room. Tamario, welcome to the room. Are you aware of the Charter of Medina?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Are you aware of the Charter of Medina issued by Muhammad?
Oh no, I'm not familiar.
Are you a Muslim, sir? Because we do believe that there's a high correlation amongst Muslims that are completely unaware of the Charter of Medina, the Constitution.
Are you a Muslim, Tamaria?
No, I'm not a Muslim.
Oh, okay.
We have Beef here, the legendary ginger Jew of Clubhouse, the fierce debater of Islam. Beef has had a Beef has had an incredible journey and experience here on Clubhouse. I've heard him cry. I mean, just pouring buckets. But this is...
Well, the other day I heard him say to Norm, die, Norm, die, old Norm. And he said something like he did a rap. He was doing a free... Did you hear this?
I know. I did, actually. I heard the follow-up. I also heard him follow up on it. Beef, you're one of my favorite people here. I just want to let you know. And the fact that you don't bring me up on your stages,
It's like, I'm going to make you drink my cum or something insane.
Yeah, really crazy. But look at his PTR. Look at the coloration in his skin. And see, I don't have issues with sun, but I do have, everybody has skin issues. Like Chelsea Clinton, Hillary Clinton's daughter, I just saw she ran the Boston Marathon. And I was like, what in the fuck is wrong with this bitch's skin, bro? She's got psoriasis everywhere. I was like, yikes. She was so pale. And so I do think there is something about the sun. And if you are a Christian and you are constantly referring to the sun, there's power in the sun. I do think I'm just a sun worshiper. I'm like a cat man. Because come 4 o'clock, when that sun is pouring through my windows, I just want to sit in the sun. And I think it's good for you. And it's the source of tremendous power and health. And if you don't like the metaphor that Jesus Christ is the Son of God the Father, the universal God, I mean, you just don't understand Marvel comic books. Because if we have a universal God and we have a universal Son, it's just metaphor for the light of the sun. And this is where Kabbalah comes in, where Ein Sof, the limitless light, pours into all the 10 Sephiroth. And now you got 10 variables to meditate on, like Chokmah and Binah. These are mantras. They're vibrations. Hello?
Beef, wait, real quick. Real quick, Beef. Hang on, real quick, Beef. Wait, no, but real quick, I've got a question for you. But no, but I have a question for you, actually. I was gonna say something to you.
Quick, one sec.
Well, no.
Welcome to the stage, Beef.
Yeah.
Welcome to the stage.
But I wanted to ask you, Beef. But hang on. Well, wait a minute. Yeah, but Beef.
1 second. Hey, 1 second. Hold on. 1 second.
Wait a minute. Hang on. I know you want to crash out. I'm sure you want to crash out, but I just wanted to ask you, how come you don't accept me to the stage? Every time I'm in your rooms and you're the moderator, you never invite me to the stage. I'm just wondering about that. When I'm in the audience in your rooms, I always raise my hand when I'm in the audience in your rooms, and you never invite me up onto the stage when you're the moderator. I'm just wondering, why don't you invite me up on stage when you're the moderator in your own rooms? Do you have a problem with me or something? Because there are many times that I've been raising my hands when I've been in the audience in your rooms. I'm talking to Beef. But Beef, basically, when I'm in your rooms, I've raised my hand and you don't let me up on stage. And I'm wondering if there's a particular reason why. I'm going to let you finish. I just wanted to ask this question really quick, if I could. The question is essentially, when I'm in your rooms and I'm raising my hand, you don't let me up on stage, and I'm wondering why. I see that you're trying to respond, but I wanted to ask you this question first. I'm going to let you finish. You can go right after me.
Go for it.
But I wanted to ask, how come when I'm in the audience in your rooms and you're the moderator on stage, why don't you let me up onto the stage? Why do you always make me wait in the audience? I see that you want to speak, but I'm trying to ask you a question. So I don't even know what you're saying. You're probably saying some sort of nonsense right now.
The reason is
you're probably talking right now about fucking me in the ass or making me drink all of your cum because you're a little gay boy. I don't know what you're saying. To be honest with you, I have no idea. Nor do I care.
Trash.
But I do have a question for you. My question, quite simply and plainly, I'll just try to ask it again because I'm sure that you're not listening. But my question is, when I'm in the audience in your rooms and you're the moderator, can you just listen to me for a second? So when I'm in the audience and you're the moderator on stage, you don't let me up on stage. Like I have my hand raised, and a lot of time goes by, other people come up on stage, Big Zed comes up on stage. Caleb comes up on stage, but I don't know why you don't let me up on stage.
You're trash. The answer
Anyway,
is
that's my question for you.
The answer is because you're a piece of trash. You're a rotten, disgusting, smelly piece of trash. All of your contributions are worthless. I don't want to speak. You're not intelligent. You're not funny. You don't have a savoir-faire. You don't have a sang-froid. You're not a fucking wit. You're just a fucking piece of trash. You're annoying. You're a loser. You're ugly. You're stupid. Nothing you say is of any merit or value. I find you uninteresting. You're a fucking literal fucking worm, intellectually and rhetorically, and I find it completely uninteresting to hear the sound of you. So the reason why I don't invite you on stage is because you are just a literally worthless fucking piece of trash. You're a fucking rotten, self-hating piece of shit. That others hate you as well. So it's not just self-hating. The world hates you, and you are fucking disgusting. Your thoughts are disgusting. Your heart is disgusting. Your dreams are disgusting. Your plans are disgusting. Everything about you is just utterly worthless, uninteresting, listless, fucking gray, milquetoast, boring, fucking uninteresting, redundant, unfunny, worthless fucking trash. That's why I don't bring you on stage.
Okay, thank you. I just had that one question.
Can I hear that again? I
just asked Beef a question.
Hold on. I want to hear what he had to say. What were you saying, Beef? Can you say that again?
Oh, yeah, sure. So what I was saying about my friend is the reason why I don't invite him on stage is because he's literally worthless. Nothing he says matters. He's the most boring person I've had the displeasure of running into on this app. It's actually fucking blood coming out of my ears when I hear you. You're a fucking plague, an audio plague. And even when I put my fingers on my ears, I still can't drown out the shrill, fucking awfulness of your voice.
Okay. All right, now that sounds good.
John Kitover, I had a question for you. Now that we've gotten that question answered. You said that you had a video.
Thanks for letting me go first. I appreciate
document. That. You said it was popular. Where can I find the video that you have about me discussing Islam in my document? I'd love to watch it.
Thanks for letting me go first, Sam. That was nice of you.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. I hope you found my answer satisfactory.
No, it's not a video.
Very clear.
Sam, it's not a video of you discussing your document. I screenshotted your Google Word doc and made a video out of it, and then overlaid Muslim music, and it was very popular.
Where can I find that?
I'd have to Google it because I have over 100,000 videos on YouTube, so I'd have to search for it.
John Kitover Islam, something like that, or
Maybe. I think maybe you could type in like Sam Rosen Clubhouse Islam Google Word doc. Maybe. Oh, and I just wanted to say that earlier, that piece of shit, annoying, schizophrenic, Jew hating, anti Semite rabbi was in here. And I just want to say that I said to him, when you realize what projection is, it's a motherfucker. Because there's a little projection and then there's a big projection, the big P projection. And you believe in the little self or you believe in the big self, when you insult other people and you do ad hominem projection, it's always just, the way you feel about yourself because your dialectic is who you are. And so everything that Beef just said to my friend is the way that Sam Rosen actually feels about himself. And I feel sorry for you, Sam. And I hate hearing you cry on this app. And I just hope you find the strength within your tuchus to bust a nut and be happy again. Hello?
Wow, that was very kind.
I am happy again. When you first met me, I was very miserable because I had recently gone through a divorce. I was living in a church of my father's. It wasn't the best situation. But now I live in Slovenia. I have a hot fiance who's really wonderful and smart. I traveled to Venice recently, and my life is really good. So I'm in a good place.
Well, so why do you feel the need to be a douchebag online?
Well, you were being rude to me, so I decided to just...
No, I wasn't. I was just trying to ask you a question.
No, you weren't. You were just being redundantly...
You got on stage, and I was going to go first. I was already on stage, so you didn't respect the fact that I was here first.
But you just kept droning on about, let me ask you a question, why you don't bring me up, but you said it
well,
like
so did you. You didn't mute the fuck up and let me ask you something.
It was rude that you kept doing it, so then I just had to get mean,
Well, I think it's rude that you don't let me on stage just because you don't like me.
Why would I want to be around people I don't like?
Well, if you're the moderator of a public space and you're trying to moderate a philosophy...
It's private.
Well, it's essentially a public space if the room is public.
No, it's a private... It's my house, my rules.
Yeah, but anybody can join.
Yeah, but they can't join the stage.
Oh, gentlemen, I hate to interrupt you, but I just wanted to tell you a quick story. I was working at Avon as a supervisor, and the manager, Molly, said, John, I want you to go fire Tyrone over there. Tell him he's fired and get him out of the building. I was like, yes, ma'am.
I've heard this
story. So,
please, this is one of my favorites. Please continue.
So I came up to Tyrone. I was like, hey, bro, I need to speak with you. Can you come over into this office? And so he comes with me. I said, Tyrone, I was just instructed by Molly, the manager, that I'm to terminate you and to fire you and walk you out of the building. And this is your last day. And he's like, what the fuck, motherfucker? Why? What the fuck? And I was like, well, listen, I think you can save your job. And I think it just requires an apology. And I would like to instruct you and coach you on an apology. And I will walk you into Molly's office and I will say, Molly, Tyrone wants to say something to you before, I walk him out of the building. And so I coached him for, I'm not kidding you, maybe 1 to 3 hours. And I was like, this is, because he couldn't get it. Like he really had a hard time. Maybe it was the way I was trying to because maybe I just needed to write it down and I needed to have him read it. That was probably the best way to help him save his job. Anyways, I walk him into Molly's office after 2 hours of getting him to repeat the same thing over and over again. And she says, what the fuck are you doing in my office? Can I help you? And I was like, Molly, before Tyrone left the building, he wanted to say something to you. And he says, wow, fuck, you want to fire me, bitch? And I was like, oh my fucking God. So I think I may have blocked and then said, sorry, man, you have to leave. So anyways, when I walked him out, I said, listen, you got to remember that this job sucks. And when one door closes, another door opens, and life is going to be great for you. And I don't think you need to worry about this. And, anyways, but that was even my projection. So anyways, I'm just trying to say that in Medina, when Muhammad issued the charter, there was a Mishling in a Jewish town. And when the charter was read as a proclamation, the Mishling, there were 2 Jews in the town that started arguing. And as the Mishling, I was just like, did you guys just not hear the proclamation? We're all fucked. And you guys are arguing? What are you guys arguing about? Hello?
I think this guy is new here, my friend. How long have you been here? On to a new topic.
How long have I been here?
Yeah.
What, on the app?
Yeah.
Too long, probably. I don't know. 2021?
Okay, go.
I've been on this app long enough that I used to think that John Kitover's name was Edmund and that he was British.
And we're going to lose again. The only difference is, I believe China sat back and watched and said, yeah, we ain't going to do what Japan did. We ain't going to do that now. We're going to do things differently. And they're going to beat us at our own game long term. This whole, I'm going to use my ISIL to keep you down, is only going to work for so. Because again, they were that big of a threat. How come we ain't Iran them yet? How come we ain't invaded them? Shock and awe. Huh? Or because they're Chinese and I'm racist, hi, y'all, shock and awe. Huh? How come? How come? Okay, all right.
I didn't know that Sam was that irrational. I always thought that he was like a philosopher kind of level-headed type. But I guess he
Yeah, he's hot
crashed out with
blooded.
the best of.
He's hot blooded, but you see, this is the difference between like a Marcus Aurelius philosopher that believes in God and then like a gay academic philosopher atheist who just views it as like a dialectic, semantic, large language model or something like that, where like Alan Watts says they do philosophy 9 to 5 or something. So, but again, he went through. Everybody has a broken heart. I think I like to think about my life just in. There's a book. God, it's like the women of. I can't remember some guy. Or fuck, maybe it was like Aleister Crowley's wives. It's like a book about all the women that Aleister Crowley ever banged. It's like 400 women or something like that. But basically, imagine writing a book about every woman you ever slept with, every experience. Like that's who you are. You're not just who you're what your conditioning is, and you're just basically. I don't think we live inside our body, meaning like I think we're actually outside our body, and the environment is really who and what you are, and your words are just so valuable that God, you could be so rich, but if you got a bad attitude and you're angry all the time and you're a screamer, to me it's just like bad for your nervous system. Like Taoistic meditation, Zen philosophy, Buddhism, Hinduism, to me those people really know how to sit back and bust a nut and just relax. And I think our legal system here is like so restrictive that that's the reason why we don't have more gurus and like chill societies, and we have horrific violent gun crime and YNs flashing their guns, rapping their drill music. I mean, we have a culture of death and terrorism, internally and externally. I know there's crime in other countries, horrific crime, and mafia and gangsters and, horrible, trashy people that murder you for your fucking moped, you know, or, light you on fire on a fucking train or slice your throat on a fucking train, horrible, despicable people that I wish we fucking, could do public executions with and make a whole Sunday out of it. I got no problems with that. I could live with that law, but I wouldn't call it the Ummah. I would just call it American.
I'm always so tickled when people insult me being a piece of garbage or being a garbage bag and say, you're a trash bag, you're a piece of garbage. That's the whole point of self-deprecation. I got there first. I beat him to the punch.
Yeah, you technically you give people an out though. You give people an out though with your first name, but when anyways.
I know, but imagine if I was like your friend, the guru, nature hero, and then they still called me a piece of fucking garbage.
Well, see, how's your new experiment going with your new phone?
Yeah, I appreciate the accountability check. I haven't really had a chance to use it yet. I do have one excuse, which is that I did cut my thumb, severely cut my thumb. So I haven't really been doing
Oh my gosh.
because my thumb was cut. But I am going to do it, and I appreciate the accountability check.
Yeah, basket weaving can be dangerous. That's the one thing is cause and effect. Art and critic. Most critics don't know the sacrifices that the artist makes to create their criticism. That's why I really dislike critics. They're so obnoxious. It's their right, though, to be a critic. But it's your right to be an artist. And not many people think that Megatron is an artist, but I think he is a great artist. And same with Daniel Nero. And even Narges. Have you heard her sing her sexy French, music? Holy shit. That chick's a winner. So, Rabbono Shalom, everybody. Welcome back to Bible, Quran, and Poems. I wanna play you a poem from a Jew harp.
So I have a request, a poem from you, Mr.
Dr. Universe.
Yeah. A request. I want you to look up. I want you to look up this person. Are you ready?
while you are in this relaxed position and breathing rhythmically, we will do the middle pillar exercise. Sit upright in your chair, both feet on the floor, alert, but fully relaxed. Join with me in this invocation. O Lord of the universe, the vast and the mighty one, ruler of the light and the darkness, we adore thee and we adore. Favor upon me.
Got a pile of clothes you never wear anymore? Turn them into cash with Vinted. Snap a photo.
Invocation of faith. Procul, o procul esti profani, on lasti, on peda. In the name of the mighty and terrible one, I proclaim that I have banished the shells unto their habitations. I invoke Tahuti, the Lord of wisdom and of utterance, the God that cometh forth from the veil. O thou, majesty of the Godhead, wisdom crowned Tahuti, Lord of the gates of the universe, thee I invoke. O thou of the ibis head, thee I invoke. Thou who wieldest the wand of double power, thee I invoke. Thou who bearest in thy left hand the rose and cross of light and life, thee I invoke. Thou whose head is as an emerald, and thy limbs as the night sky blue, thee I invoke. Thou whose skin is of flaming orange as though it burned in a furnace, thee I invoke. Behold, I am yesterday, today, and the brother of tomorrow. I am born again and again. Mine is the unseen force whereof the gods are sprung, which is as light unto the dwellers in the watchtowers of the universe. I am the charioteer of the east, lord of the past and of the future. I see by mine own inward light, Lord of resurrection, who cometh forth from the dust, and my birth is from the house of death. O ye two divine hawks upon your pinnacles, who keep watch over the universe, ye who company the bier to the house of rest, who pilot the ship of wrong, ever advancing onwards the heights of heaven, Lord of the shrine which standeth in the center of the earth. Behold, he is in me, and I in him. Mine is the radiance wherein the star floats over the firmament. I travel upon high. I tread upon the firmament of new. I raise a flashing flame with the lightning of mine eye, ever rushing on in the splendor of the daily glorified Ra, giving my life to the dwellers of earth. If I say, come up upon the mountain, the celestial waters shall flow at my word. For I am Ra incarnate, Kefra, created in the flesh. I am the eidolon of my father Tanu, Lord of the city of the sun. The God who commands is in my mouth. The God of wisdom is in my heart. My tongue is the sanctuary of truth, and a guard sitteth upon my lips. My word is accomplished every day, and the desire of my heart realizes itself as that of the tower when he created his works. I am eternal, therefore all things are as my designs, therefore do all things obey my word. Therefore do thou come forth unto me from thine abode in the silence, unutterable wisdom, or light, or power. Sound, Hermes, Mercury, Odin, by whatever name I call thee, thou art still nameless to eternity. Come thou forth, I say, and aid and guard me in this work of art. Thou, star of the east, that didst conduct the Magi, thou art the same all present in heaven and in hell. Thou that vibratest between the light and the darkness, rising, descending, changing ever, yet ever the same. The sun is thy father, thy mother the moon. The wind hath drawn thee in its bosom, and earth hath ever nourished the changeless Godhead of thy youth. Come thou forth, I say, come thou forth, and make all spirits subject unto thee, so that every spirit of the firmament and of the ether, upon the earth and under the earth, on dry land and in the water, of whirling air and of rushing fire, and every spell and scourge of God the vast one may be obedient unto thee.
Chicago babies.
A business partner says the lawsuit got resolved, but the details stay blurry. BIN-verified court cases help search court records across federal, state, and local courts, so it's easier to look up what happened with a case number. Tap below, enter a case number, see what you could find.
nation of folks. Procul, o procul esti profani, on lasti, on peda. In the name of the mighty and terrible one, I proclaim that I have banished the shells unto their habitations. I invoke Tahuti, the Lord of wisdom and of utterance, the God that cometh forth from the veil. O thou, majesty of the Godhead, wisdom-crowned Tahuti, Lord of the gates of the universe, thee I invoke. O thou of the ibis head, thee I invoke. Thou who wieldest the wand of double power, thee I invoke. Thou who bearest in thy left hand the rose and cross of light and life, thee I invoke. Thou whose head is as an emerald, and thy nemes as the night sky blue, thee I invoke. Thou whose skin is a flaming orange as though it burned in a furnace, thee I invoke. Behold, I am yesterday, today, and the brother of tomorrow. I am born again and again. Mine is the unseen force whereof the gods are sprung, which is as life unto the dwellers in the watchtowers of the universe. I am the charioteer of the east, lord of the past and of the future. I see by mine own inward light, Lord of resurrection, who cometh forth from the dust, and my birth is from the house of death. O ye two divine hawks upon your pinnacles, who keep watch over the universe, ye who accompany the bier to the house of rest, who pilot the ship of wrong, ever advancing onwards the heights of heaven, Lord of the shrine which standeth in the center of the earth. Behold, he is in me, and I in him. Mine is the radiance, wherein Ptah floats over the firmament. I travel upon high. I tread upon the firmament of news. I raise that flashing flame with the lightning of mine eye, ever rushing on in the splendor of the daily glorified Ra, giving my life to the dwellers of earth. If I say, come up upon the mountains, the celestial waters shall flow at my word. For I am Ra incarnate, Kefra, created in the flesh. I am the eidolon of my father Tanu, Lord of the city of the sun. The God who commands is in my mouth. The God of wisdom is in my heart. My tongue is the sanctuary of truth, and a guard sitteth upon my lips. My word is accomplished every day, and the desire of my heart realizes itself as that of Ptah when he created his works. I am eternal, therefore all things are as my designs, therefore do all things obey my word. Therefore do thou come forth unto me from thine abode in the silence, unutterable wisdom, or light, or power. Sound, Hermes, Mercury, Odin, by whatever name I call thee, thou art still nameless to eternity. Come thou forth, I say, and aid and guard me in this work of art. Thou, star of the east, that didst conduct the Magi, thou art the same all present in heaven and in hell. Thou that vibratest between the light and the darkness, rising, descending, changing ever, yet ever the same. The sun is thy father, thy mother the moon. The wind hath borne thee in its bosom, and earth hath ever nourished the changeless Godhead of thy youth. Come thou forth, I say, come thou forth, and make all spirits subject unto thee, so that every spirit of the firmament and of the ether, upon the earth and under the earth, on dry land and in the water, God the vast one may be obedient unto thee. Invocation of folks. Procul, o procul esti profani, on lasti, on pedo. In the name of the mighty and terrible one, I proclaim that I have banished the shells unto their habitations. I invoke Tahuti, the Lord of wisdom and of utterance, the God that cometh forth from the veil. O thou majesty of the Godhead, wisdom-crowned Tahuti, Lord of the gates of the universe, thee I invoke. O thou of the ibis head, thee I invoke. Thou who wieldest the wand of double power, thee I invoke. Thou who bearest in thy left hand the rose and cross of life and life, thee I invoke. Thou whose head is as an emerald, and thy nemesis as the night sky blue, thee I invoke. Thou whose skin is a flaming orange as though it burned in a furnace, thee I invoke. Behold, I am yesterday, today, and the brother of tomorrow. I am born again and again. Mine is the unseen force whereof the gods are sprung, which is as life unto the dwellers in the watchtowers of the universe. I am the charioteer of the east, lord of the past and of the future. I see by mine own inward light, Lord of resurrection, who cometh forth from the dust, and my birth is from the house of death. O ye two divine hawks upon your pinnacles, who keep watch over the universe, ye who company the bier to the house of rest, who pilot the ship of wrong, ever advancing onward the heights of heaven, Lord of the shrine which standeth in the center of the earth. Behold, he is in me, and I in him. Mine is the radiance, wherein the path floats over the firmament. I travel upon high. I tread upon the firmament of news. I raise a flashing flame with the lightning of mine eye, ever rushing on in the splendor of the daily glorified Ra, giving my life to the dwellers of earth. If I say, come up upon the mountain,
Inshallah, answers
let
to
your
Muhammad
waters
and
shall flow
Allah.
at my word. For I am Ra incarnate, Kefra, created in the flesh. I am the eidolon of my father Tamu, Lord of the city of the sun. The God who commands is in my mouth. The God of wisdom is in my heart. my lips. My word is accomplished every day, and the desire of my heart realizes itself as that of the power when he created his world. I am eternal, therefore all things are as my designs, therefore do all things obey my word. Therefore do thou come forth unto me from thine abode in the silence, unutterable wisdom, or light, or power. So, Hermes, Mercury, Odin, by whatever name I call thee, thou art still nameless to eternity. Come thou forth, I say, and aid and guard me in this work of art. Thou, star of the east, that didst conduct the Magi, thou art the same all present in heaven and in hell. Thou that vibratest between the light and the darkness, rising, descending, changing ever yet ever the same. The sun is thy father, thy mother the moon. The wind hath borne thee in its bosom, and earth hath ever nourished the changeless Godhead of thy youth. Come thou forth, I say, come thou forth, and make all spirits subject unto thee, so that every spirit of the firmament and of the ether, upon the earth and under the earth, on dry land and in the water, of roaring air and of rushing fire, and every spell and scourge of God the vast one may be obedient unto thee. Invocation of Thoth. Procul, O Procul esti profani, on lusty, on peda. In the name of the mighty and terrible one, I proclaim that I have banished the shells unto their habitations. I invoke Tahuti, the Lord of wisdom and of utterance, the God that cometh forth from the veil. O thou majesty of the Godhead, wisdom-crowned Tahuti, Lord of the gates of the universe, thee I invoke. O thou of the ibis head, thee I invoke. Thou who wieldest the wand of double power, thee I invoke. Thou who bearest in thy left hand the rose and cross of light and life, thee I invoke. Thou whose head is as an emerald, and thy nemes as the night sky blue, thee I invoke. Thou whose skin is of flaming orange as though it burned in a furnace, thee I invoke. Behold, I am yesterday, today, and the brother of tomorrow. I am born again and again. Mine is the unseen force whereof the gods are sprung, which is as life unto the dwellers in the watchtowers of the universe. I am the charioteer of the east, lord of the past and of the future. I see by mine own inward light, Lord of resurrection, who cometh forth from the dust, and my birth is from the house of death. O ye two divine hawks upon your pinnacles, who keep watch over the universe, ye who accompany the bier to the house of rest, who pilot the ship of Ra, ever advancing onwards the heights of heaven, Lord of the shrine which standeth in the center of the earth. Behold, he is in me, and I in him. Mine is the radiance, wherein Ptah floateth over the firmament. I travel upon high. I tread upon the firmament of new. I raise that flashing flame with the lightning of mine eye, ever rushing on in the splendor of the daily glorified Ra, giving my life to the dwellers of earth. If I say, come up upon the mountains, the celestial waters shall flow at my word. For I am Ra incarnate, Kefra, created in the flesh. I am the eidolon of my father Tamu, lord of the city of the sun. The God who commands is in my mouth. The God of wisdom is in my heart. My tongue is the sanctuary of truth, and a guard sitteth upon my lips. My word is accomplished every day, and the desire of my heart realizes itself as that of Ptah when he created his works. I am eternal, therefore all things are as my designs, therefore do all things obey my word. Therefore do thou come forth unto me from thine abode in the silence, unutterable wisdom,